How's it going,
We are
guys?
here.
Hey guys.
Going well. How about with you?
Yeah, no complaints. No complaints. Little couple of week hiatus between our scheduling, but we're back. In the words of Brandon, we are the reboot. We meet every Wednesday at 1:30. um, Today we're going to talk about employee monitoring, also known as employee tracking, employee productivity, some software packages that you can use to um, monitor these activities and some of the positive use cases for something like this. But before we get into it, I am Brian Bracci. I'm with B&L PC Solutions based out of Long Island, New York. And I am with two colleagues of mine.
I am Dave Groot with WinStar Technologies in Culpeper, Virginia.
And I am Brandon Bowers, Eisenramper Managed Technology Services out of today, South Florida. The last 3 weeks, I've been someplace different every single week. So
That's
I was
good.
almost gonna
That's
say I
good.
forget where I where I am today. It's tomorrow I'm flying out again. So
Good for you.
yeah, I guess if you could
Yeah,
think of
sure.
Racking up the miles, right?
I guess so.
So, in employee monitoring for or employee tracking, productivity, not an old technology. It's been around for a really long time. I can remember back at least 15 plus years ago, and I think the use cases today are different, or should be different for on a management side or the on the C-level side than it was years ago. Years ago, it used to be you can record screens of employees and just kind of play through like a VHS tape on what's going on all day long. And there were some we did have clients that actually did use that, and nowadays we're seeing kind of a switch over to employee monitoring for positive reasons. And there's I mean, one of them that I can talk about right off the bat is, um, you know I know clients that use it for project management. So we have, a piece of software running on their computer, and there's different phases to the project. It could be the due diligence phase, the R&D phase, the testing phase of a project. And with some of these softwares, you can actually go into the team or the work group that you're a part of, and just in one glimpse, you can kind of see, well, the due diligence phase, the entire team should be, on Google all day, doing research, and get a snapshot of that. And if you see, 8 out of 10 people doing that, you can kind of reach out and say, is there something holding you up? Like, why aren't you doing the research? That's where we are now. And I think the important thing is to have that full transparency to your employees, whether it's through your AUP or through your just your standard company policy, that we are going to be monitoring for productivity. You don't want to word it to say that we're watching what you're doing, because in essence, that's what how it comes across. So you can just the advice would be to just put it out there that you're monitoring productivity for their benefit.
I
Um,
I think a discussion should be had a little bit around because in the past I feel the same way. It was basically what screenshots, and the most typical instance when this was wanted is they wanted a reason to fire somebody, or they wanted to really micromanage what was going on. They didn't
yep.
trust the person. Like, there's a lot of negative connotation when you hear, oh, they want to monitor me. Are they putting monitor software? Like, when we go out to a new client, we're saying, oh, we're putting our monitoring agents on. They're like, what are you monitoring? Why are you? I don't want that on my computer. So we don't call it monitoring agents anymore, because if we do, that's what they feel like because of the connotation. So, like, there's so many more benefits that you get out of it now. And in most cases, when we're deploying any type of software like that, it's exactly what you said. It's not to actually like know what anybody's doing, but it's nobody's in the office anymore. Everybody's working from home, understanding productivity. What are the most productive apps? How can you even award people based on different types of metrics that you're seeing happening? Um, but how do you like what can people do to educate their employees on how this is not necessarily just a bad thing?
Well,
Because it
yeah.
still
I mean,
carries that connotation. I feel like anytime I'm talking to any employee. We got to be very careful on how
I
we
think it depends
step
on
around.
the use case, right? I mean, we if we have someone that is let's say that they're a data entry person, right? You have someone that's constantly data entry, and you can tell them, listen, we have a you can call it monitoring, but we have a keylogger on your computer. We need to record metrics on how much you're entering, and we need you to be here, and we're going to be looking at your productivity. And that's letting them know that it's not a negative. It's just saying that there may be a benchmark you need to hit, and we're going to be monitoring for that. And it's very easy to do that. But that's one use case that you can use it for.
I look at it more from at least in our use case, more from a protection aspect, meaning we do actually track all of our employees' productivity. I have video cameras on all of the employees, and every remote session one of my techs goes into is recorded. It's not because I don't trust my people at all, and they know that. It's because we need to be able to go back and prove what it is we did if something were to come up, or maybe not even prove it, but just know what somebody did so that we can fix something if something didn't go right, or undo it if it caused another problem. And it's a liability, it's a compliance, it's a security issue, right?
Well,
I
that's
guess
your internal use, yeah, and that's perfect. I mean, we have a client that is monitoring and lets everyone know that to protect our DLP or to protect from
Mhm.
data loss prevention, we're monitoring to make sure our data does not leave the firm.
You delete more than 3 files in my organization, I get an email,
Right,
like right now, because
right.
I want to know. And it's not like that can be happening by a hacker and not my employee, but under
Well,
their
that's
account,
that's the
right? Like,
spin on it, right? You want to present it
well,
that
I mean,
way
it's true.
also. Yeah.
Listen, if I didn't trust a person, they would never step foot in my office. Like, if I have reason to have to monitor my people because they're not trustworthy, that's a bigger problem, right? So that's not why companies should be doing it on any level anymore. It's definitely about efficiency, getting more metrics, the ability to identify where there's missing people, missing labor, too much labor. All those things are beneficial to everybody in the organization if it's done properly and it's used in a transparent way, right?
100%. Yeah.
I like the idea that you can use those metrics to determine, hey, maybe I do need to hire somebody right now
Hmm.
because all of our metrics look good. Everybody's very productive. Okay, we're out of bandwidth. That's one
Right.
thing. The other thing you were mentioning, it reminds me of call recording as an example.
Right.
I feel like a long time ago, maybe people didn't feel like that was so important. I didn't feel like it was ultra important. But then when you get into a situation where someone is working with a customer and the customer says, "Oh, he said this," the other person says, "No, this is what they said. This is why we were supposed to do it." And now, like, there's a battle, and you have no place to go back and like validate what should be done. So it's a protection for your business at the end of the day,
Well,
right?
not only that, but it's a training tool. We record every
Training,
one of the
coaching.
calls, right? And then we let the text listen to their calls, right? Like, and then we let their peers listen to their calls. Like, we pick 3 a week, and we're just like, okay, guys, what did you do right? What did you do wrong? Where could you have gone better? You know?
Yeah. There's you could even use it. I know people that use it for on a scaled down visual here, but they use it for attendance. Like the payroll person has access to everybody's. She can't see anything. She can just see, wow, they sat at their computer at this time and they finished at this time, and
Mhm.
run payroll that way. And so this person did nothing all day, so they were out or something like that. So there's positive use cases like that instead of having everybody punch in, punch out, and do all this other stuff. That's
Well,
one way that it's used also.
so I'm going to go off on a slight tangent, but it fits
Shocker,
into the
shocker. Hold
into the
on.
conversation.
Let me get ready for this.
We're actually starting to uh, look at the use case of having SIM on everything.
He got the sim in, Brandon. Say he's still.
I'm
he was
telling you,
he was dying to
but
talk about it today.
no, I'm not. It's got nothing to. Look, it is one of my favorites. I'm telling you. But I have started to dabble in the idea of um, measuring all of those things through the process of SIM, right? So if you have SIM agents on all the endpoints, then for instance, I can run a report or build a dashboard that tells me when you logged in. I can run a report or build a dashboard that tells me when your updates were done, or what CVEs aren't patched, or what vulnerabilities are sitting on your computer. So I'm able to take, and you guys understand my feelings about RMM, and the fact that I would like to do away with that on every level. And so this can potentially help me to build out a dashboard to identify the things that we need to know for our clients, in that the vulnerability aspect of it, but just your general monitoring and patching and all that kind of stuff. So off topic, but same thing, because SIM is monitoring, right? And the beauty of SIM is it picks literally everything up. I mean, it's pulling from all of your environments. So I can get it from the cloud. So I'm getting my productivity and my metrics everywhere come into one place, and then I can look at that dashboard. And so we're considering even dropping it in on prospects.
You know what people don't think about? I think that they could quickly leverage some of these statistics or analytics or reports or whatever you want to call them when it comes to productivity, is if you're using Office 365 built right into the dashboards, they have like uh, I forget what they call. I think it's called like application adoption or something like that. So you
Yeah,
can
that's
figure out,
the who's using what and that kind of thing. Yeah.
yeah, you can figure out, hey, is my team actually leveraging the licenses we have? Is there better ways that we should license based on this, or changes we should make? So there's like immediate financial benefits that you can start figuring out and working with an IT provider or whoever's managing those licenses for you. And there's also reports in there like, are people engaged in teams? Are they communicating? How often are they logging in? Where are they logging in from? There's a lot of that data that, without saying, hey, we're going to drop some intru I'm calling it intrusive because, again, I feel it's always a negative connotation when I'm talking to somebody about monitoring software. But these type of systems or metrics are built into a lot of systems today that you have access to that you may not even realize. So,
Well, look at your phone. Look at your iPhone. I mean, you can
oh
look at
yeah, but,
same thing.
yep,
I
yeah. As
mean,
soon as you set up a brand new iPhone, one of the first things that it will ask you to set up is screen time. And screen time is tracking what applications, for how long, when are you using them, all
mhm.
that type of data. Yeah. Yep. And then
So
that's reportable, and that will integrate with, I think we spoke about before, like mobile device management. So you can
right.
tie in some of those metrics or that data to report on centrally as well.
Yep.
Yeah, if you're on E5, uh, the metrics you can pull out of Microsoft are insane. As far as your like, it it it, it it's it's crazy what they can tell you about what's going on in your
Yeah.
environment.
Even
I,
go ahead. Sorry, Brian.
no, I was gonna say, I don't do just because of timing. Like, do we want to talk about any of your favorite products to do this type of stuff, or where you guys have seen some success? Or
We certainly
You
can.
mean as far as
That's
employee tracking and such?
yeah, yeah.
Sure.
I
What do you
mean, the
got?
one that we've definitely used is for clients is ActiveTrack. That's one of the big ones. And to kind of piggyback off of what you were saying, Brandon, it's not just Microsoft. We have a client that was using it and look at it because it does. You can break it down by application to see how often the applications are being used. So if they have a CRM system that they're paying X amount of dollars for, and they look and see that, you know what, 15% of the workforce is using this. Should we put our dollar somewhere else or make sure everyone is using it? But you can look at tangible costs that you have and say, you know what, this is we're not getting. What's the ROI in this? You know, and get in real time.
Well, and then determine, is that a training issue? Is it a
Exactly,
buy-in issue?
exactly,
Is it an executive team? What's going
exactly,
on? Like, why
exactly,
is this not happening? Right.
exactly. We've also seen, people come back and say that they notice that employee XYZ is putting in, let's say, 10 hours a day, and kind of going back to what you were saying earlier, is that the rest of the team either isn't pulling their weight, or maybe they're understaffed or overstaffed, whatever it is. But
Right.
you can get all that, and again, it's not you can get granular if you want to, but it's really not looking at someone and saying you're doing this all day. It's really a matter of just making everybody more productive.
Look, it's no different than security cameras. I mean, my gosh, when you put security cameras in, everybody immediately starts to think, okay, so somebody's going to be sitting there watching the monitor with all these cameras all day long. That's not what happens. it's an event, right? Okay, something took place. Now we're going to go back and we're going to look and we're going to
Unless you're at
see
a
what
casino,
that
then that's going to
was.
be a
Yeah.
little different. Those are going to be watched.
I know, but
Yeah.
it's all right.
No, that's
Just
exactly. We get calls from clients. You know, can you check the cameras at this time? You know, this is someone hit my car or whatever it was, and we go in there and pull a tape, or whatever, and it's
Sure.
pull a tape while I'm dating myself. We pull the video and then give them the clip.
Pull a USB stick.
I actually really love ActiveTrack because one of the what I thought cool features were you can it gives you a list of some of the software people use, right? You can classify it as productive or not productive.
Exactly.
And you can start finding some like pretty cool dashboard level metrics of okay, who are the most productive people based on the applications they have open. Um, we had this one client who they found one of the employees. Uh, she just happened to like working more at night, and they were wondering why she wasn't accessible during the day, and they were kind of upset when they looked. They saw that hey, she's active during this time and that time, and then it was a different conversation because now it educated the employer like what was going on, and they had faith in what was going on. Um, but the other really cool thing is the aspect of like understanding shadow IT in terms of
Mhm.
protecting the business. So like our employees trying to use Dropbox on the web or some other application to potentially take data, and it could flag things like that, which I think is also really good. We've got an engagement right now where it's a pretty large environment that they've got compliance requirements, but IT has no visibility over those machines once they leave the network when it comes to web traffic and what sites and services and things they're using. And so they're looking at something similar to that just to understand like we want to make sure somebody's not going into this random file sharing service or email service and all of a sudden, escaping with some of
Yeah.
our intellectual property.
But that's and you could kind of take that. You can take that whatever data you collect, and if they're going to sites that they shouldn't be, or they're doing something that they shouldn't be doing, then you go back to your IT and put the proper controls in place. You
Right.
know, if they're not supposed to be going to personal Gmail or personal email websites, then they need to be blocked, by IT and put those controls in place. And again, this will show you that. So it's really you don't have to go to the employee and say, hey, you're not supposed to be doing this. You just go ahead and take a proactive approach, put that control in place, and then go on from there.
Just to go back to like a huge cost saver is when you're talking about some of those software that have major licensing costs like AutoCAD, Adobe Creative Suite applications.
Mhm.
Remember, Adam was talking about that construction software that, like, if you just open the application, the license gets allocated and then you start getting billed for it. And so, understanding what users are using what applications and can you downgrade, like, hey, this person is never going into the application or only 10% of the staff. Let's start reducing the license load.
Right.
I mean, I didn't think about it so much until you said it, and it's like, man, there's a lot of great use cases for that, especially in the design environment or places where there's these $3,000 licenses like AutoCAD, something major that you have to toss out dollars for every time you need a license.
Right. Do you guys use anything else, or I pulled up a list before we started here, and TerraMind was one of the top 10, along with ActiveTrack. Actually, it was rated
was the?
higher.
I was going to say there used to be the Veriado is the company
That's up there too. TerraMind and Veriado are 4.5 out of 5, and ActiveTrack got a 4.
Veriado's that old
Veriado?
company that did the video. Like that's who they've become over time.
Veriado, before they changed names and did different
It
things,
was
they had
Cerebral, right? Was that them? Was it
No,
no,
it
it
was
was
somebody called eBlaster was the company who.
eBlaster. That
Yeah,
that product was actually really
I
good, and they
busted my
discontinued it.
Well,
kid
that was
big
that
time using that product. Let
was
me
that
tell you
Spectre
what, that was on
C&E
his
or
computer
no?
tracking everything he was doing, and my
It would
God, if
send
it
an
didn't
email
pay
with like
off.
a summary and everything. That was awesome.
Yeah,
Was that Spectre or no? Was
Spectre,
there's
that
that's what it
eBlaster.
was.
Oh,
that was
Spectre
before that?
Spectre owned it, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
Spectre. Yes, right.
Spectre
So
C&E
do
was
you
the
remember? Oh, somebody brought this up the other day, and it was actually a zero trust product. Easy firewall, easy.
with a name like that. It's got to be good.
I'm telling you, it was a firewall, software firewall that we installed a long time ago, and it was not only inbound but outbound, and it would pop up all the like, are you going to let this happen? Are you going to let this happen? Are you going to let? And it
Oh
was
yeah. I
Is it
remember.
and
Zone
it,
Yeah,
Alarm?
Yeah, baby
Yes,
zone alarm.
that's
Yes.
it. That's what it was. Yes, zone alarm. Thank you very much.
Surprised baby Brandon remembers that.
That was really a zero trust kind of product, right? I mean, on some level, that's what you were doing. You were making
I
your
was
machine unaccessible to everything on the network.
Yeah,
Period.
but by the time you were done with it, you were just allowed everything, and then it
I
was
know,
just
and then it didn't do anything for you any
yeah.
longer. But I'm, I'm just reminiscing. That's all.
Yep.
good old days.
But I think, uh, yeah,
So I
I'll
think
leave
the
it.
main thing is there's a lot of use cases that are probably not why a lot of these softwares were originally developed in the past. Because Spectre, as an example, through the acquisitions, it's a completely different product than what you're looking at today. And ActiveTrack is nothing like any of those products in the past. There's so much in terms of dashboards, productivity, understanding, um, workload, what applications people are using, are they engaging in those applications? um, it's just like a different discussion, I think, that you can have with business owners as well as staff. Like when we were going completely remote with COVID, to me it was something very beneficial to understand, like, where are my guys, when are they available. I don't want to feel like I have to micromanage because they're not
You can
available
see real
on
time that they're on a Zoom. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So it's like it's just And again, I think if what which you should have all your controls in place. You don't your DLP if someone's sending out
Doesn't
or
replace that, yeah.
yeah, I mean, but it works with that, and that's the productivity part of it is really the key piece of this, rather than that the privacy or the issues that the employee has. You got to steer it towards more of a productivity, but again, I don't know. It depends on the company, depends on the state you're in, location, and whatever rules and regulations you have to follow. But I think it's an easy conversation these days based on it's no different than listen, if you're being micromanaged, you're being micromanaged, right? As an employee, that someone's over your shoulder all the time doing that's and you can't change that. So you want to don't go the route with something like this and be that micromanaging guy and have this software because that's not going to probably bode well with everybody.
Then you're never going to do anything else.
Exactly.
You won't
Exactly.
get anything done.
Just looking at the screen all day.
Right.
You're going to be consumed.
Yeah.
Hey, I just want to go on record because I'll forget. Um, Someday we should discuss information rights management and sensitivity labeling for data in the Microsoft cloud.
Next week.
Well, I'm just saying, kind of keep that on your radar as an item to discuss.
What a teaser to leave these people with. Wow.
What's that?
It's such a sexy topic, David. I mean, just
Oh, come on. Protecting your data.
for me it is. I mean, I think it's awesome. You're in
We can do
charge
that.
of
Whatever you guys want to
putting
talk
together
about.
next week's agenda, David. Do it.
There we go. That's
You
got
don't
our
want me to
topic.
do that. And Brian
noted.
doesn't like when I pick the topics. It's always the same vibe.
We got our topic. It's done.
Listen, it's it. Yeah, we're there. We're there.
All right.
Cool. All right. Anything else, guys? Are we good?
I think we are.
Right. Nice. And, I think it hopefully answered some questions and put out there the positive use cases and the emphasis or focus on productivity. That's really
Yeah,
what
it's
what the
about
goal was
getting
today.
the efficiency out of your lessening staff, right? In this day
Mhm.
and age, we're short on help, and we got technology available to us, and we can use that to benefit our business and our efficiency. And part of that includes measuring and monitoring.
Yep.
And I'll
Absolutely.
make two notes. Number one, make sure whatever systems you're using, if they have anything like that, take advantage. Again, specifically on the Microsoft side, there's great licensing reporting as well as usage reporting built in. Um, and because you mentioned ActiveTrack, Brian, and I really like ActiveTrack as well, I think they've got like a free license type of
Yeah, I was
thing
I
that
was gonna say definitely if you can demo the product, doesn't hurt. It's
yeah,
very relatively easy to set up for the most part. I mean,
yeah.
we've done that, set up demos, and then I don't think we've had anybody that said no to it. And we do we do market that. We have a campaign for employee monitoring, and for some clients it hits us. It hits we're hitting that little area that they know that they're especially when we're dealing with accounting firms. They Want to make sure that they're staffed properly, and that and looking at weekends and seeing, who's putting in the time. That's really, and that's all they want out of it. They're not looking for anything else. They don't care about, the DLP side of it. They know that they have us on the control side of it. This is more from them for the productivity of their staff, and we've had some success with it. So, all right, guys, same time next
Cool.
week. We'll do
Perfect.
Indeed.
access rights and go from there.
Sounds
See you
great.
guys. Take care.
All right, take it easy.
Good.